Hey everybody, how you doing? Sorry I'm a couple minutes late tonight. I got into the NFL draft and I had to watch and see who the Broncos picked. I don't know why. I could have found out in 15 minutes, but I was being a little childish. Speaking of childish, how about that guy? How about that little cutie? Welcome to chapter 11 of 18. Tonight we cover the years 97, 98, and 99. I call them the Cleveland years because we lived in Cleveland. As I explained last night, Dylan and I immediately moved to Cleveland, like right after we got married in the middle of 1996. I got a job. Hello. I got a job moving furniture for about a year and a half, which was brutal. It was absolutely rough. Strongest I've ever been. I was like 200 pounds, and I wasn't ripped, but had really good core strength and from fucking carrying couches and sofas and also, I guess those are the same thing really, but just doing that brutal work all day, every day. And then on February 15th, 1998, a little guy was born. He's right behind you. Hey, Dante. Say hi. Say hi really loud.
Hi.
All right, thanks. As you can see, he lives with me. He's 22. As many of you know, Dante has autism, but he's doing really well with it. And he's been with me for about 3 or 4 years, which is great. And he's awesome. He's a great kid. It was pretty interesting when he was born. He was born in Cleveland Clinic, and it was kind of rough. I mean, Dylan did fine with the pregnancy and everything, and then but when he was born, I didn't even get to cut the umbilical cord because the midwife or the nurse, whatever you call it, yeah, midwife, said this is the longest, and the doctor had to come in and help too. Said this is the longest umbilical cord we've ever seen. It was wrapped. He looked like a top that you could just spin. He had it wrapped around his arm once, his leg once, and his neck 3 times. So it was scary. And he came out pretty blue, and they snipped him, got the umbilical cord out from around him, and he took that one breath and we were already relieved. And he did really well on his APGAR scores, and he's our sweet boy. The Cleveland years were basically a big transitionary year or transitional years. We bought our first house there. We bought a house in '97, right before Dante was born, so that was nice. Lived in a Jesus, sorry, words are not coming easily tonight. We lived in a suburb called Cleveland Heights. It was nice. We really liked it there. It was an interesting town because in Cleveland Heights, they wanted as much diversity and for it to be well spread diversity, like well mixed diversity. If you were a white person moving onto a predominantly black block, the city would give you a 0% loan for your home. 0%, I think it was $10,000 loan. And back then, homes in Cleveland were about 80 grand. So we took them up on that. So it worked in reverse too. If you were a black person or a black family moving onto a predominantly white block, same offer applied. It was pretty crazy. So it was great. We did really well there. We enjoyed it there a lot, but we got a lot of pressure from our parents to come back. Dante was the first grandchild on either of our families. So it was a big deal, and Cleveland's a terrible hub for air travel. Nobody goes there. So it made sense just for us to come back to Denver. We were always on a 3 to 5 year plan anyway, and we came back in January of 2000. But more about Cleveland. Like I said, really liked it there. Winters suck. Summers are a little humid, but spring and fall are both really nice. Like I said, that little awesome dude was there. It was kind of sucked for me, being a pretty rabid Bronco fan back then, that their 2 first Super Bowls that they won, we were in Cleveland for those. So that was kind of weird. Like I said, I worked the furniture business, or not the business, I just worked moving furniture for about a year and a half. Like I said, it wore me out. It was really hard. It's tough. You work, it's physical labor all day, and you just come home and you just plop. And once Dante and the whole family came back from the hospital, I decided to quit the moving business because I wanted to have better energy for this new little guy. And I ended up getting back into another movie theater. It was called the Centrum. It was about a mile away from home, which is great because the moving place was completely on the other side of town. so I could walk or bike to work. And it was a cool theater, had a great history. It's one of those huge theaters like from the 20s, that originally sat like 1,000 to 1,500 people, and then it went through this entire metamorphosis over the next 70 to 80 years until I got there in '98. It was a porn house for a while. They did all kinds of other stuff. It was completely shut down for a while, and these local guys, bought it, but they didn't really know how to run movie theaters. So Landmark leased from them. They were the landlords, and Landmark ran the movie theater out of there. And I ended up there a few months after Dante was born, like in June of '98. I ended up there, and I was the assistant manager. And a few months later, by September, I was the general manager, because the general manager, despite being a nice guy and a lot of fun, was kind of not good with money and knowing how to really run a theater. So they got him out of there and replaced him with me. And it was kind of Landmark. It was kind of their sinking ship. Landmark had no other. I think the closest Landmark theater was in Detroit. Speaking of that, if you remember the Blair Witch Project, I had to help with that. When Blair Witch originally opened, it was only on 27 screens across the country, and one of them Landmark owned was up in Detroit, in Royal Oak, a suburb of Detroit. I had to go help with that, and that was insane. It was just lines around the block. We suffered it was in July of '99, I believe, and it really sucked because we had a power outage that lasted like a full day, and people being weird and rabid. By the way, COVID-19, pretty good time to talk about people being idiots in times of crisis. People were like coming up, pounding on the window, going, "Why can't you sell us tickets? Have you looked around? The power's out. We can't get the computers up. We can't. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to hand crank the the film? Yeah, that'll look good, you moron. Then we have no power." Anyway, sorry, I digress. Good years though, really good years. This kid was great. He's just I mean, they're all special. Every human is special, but this one's special to me. He had this, there's a thing about him, there's a motivation about Dante that has always blown me away. Just his demeanor is amazing. He's very calm. He just does what he's supposed to do. He has instincts on doing what he's supposed to do. And just as a testament to his strength, when he was a baby, babies usually roll over at 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Dante was 20 days old, right before turning 3 weeks old. He was on his back. He was on the rug in the living room, and he just grunted and rolled over. And we're like, "Whoa, that kid's got some gumption," and he always has. He's just been motivated to do stuff that maybe he wasn't expected to do because of the autism, and which luckily I learned quickly never to underestimate any people with disabilities, especially my own kid. I think we're closing in on 10 minutes. It's not really important, but the Broncos picked Jerry Jeudy of the from University of Alabama, and I hope they would pick a wide receiver for Drew Lock to throw more touchdown passes to, so I'm happy with that pick. Probably going to go join my friend Pete to watch more of the draft. I'm glad you guys joined me tonight. I hope I wasn't too boring. Like I said, I loved Cleveland, but we had to return, and tomorrow night we'll cover the return. We'll cover Dante's toddler years, what I was doing when I returned to Denver for 2000, 2001, 2002. Obviously, we'll cover a little bit of 9/11, but I'll try to be brief with that and how it affected me. But Dante, those were big years for Dante. He was diagnosed with autism, I believe, early 2001, maybe late 2000. We did get to go to England. I'm sorry, one more thing. We went to England in 1999. Dante was about 15 months old. In May of 1999, we got to go to England and visit Dylan's amazing grandparents. They live in a tiny little village called Melsonby. It's like 200 people, and her grandmother was amazing. She was around 80, 82 at the time. She's still alive. She's like 99, and she still gets around just fine. This woman's amazing. She drove Jimmy Carter around when he was president. She drove a limo in the 70s. And that was one of her claims to fame, is that she drove Jimmy Carter around when he was there for some reason. They deliver coal. Houses are still heated with coal, and they had a guy that came by. Here's your bag of coal. I was like, what is this? Is this a Dickens novel? What's going on here? It was very bizarre, but it was wonderful. It's just one of those little things I had to talk about, and I'm sorry I wasn't as prepared as I usually am. I didn't cover really a lot of Cleveland in the Cleveland years, but the big thing was Dante was born, and I'm lucky to have him. I couldn't have a better kid. I guess that's about it. We're probably closing in on 12 minutes. I thank you so much again for those of you who tuned in, and thank you all of you who have watched and commented and been awesome. And like I say every night, stay well, stay safe, enjoy your people, and look forward to talking to you guys again tomorrow night for Chapter 12. All right, bye.